Vancouver's housing market, once the golden child of Canadian real estate, has been teetering on the edge for years. But now, an unprecedented disaster has struck. Sewer failures are spreading across the city, and the ramifications are catastrophic. It started as a small issue, a localized problem that authorities assured the public would be fixed swiftly. Yet, as the weeks go by, the situation has grown into an uncontrollable crisis, with no clear solution in sight. The city's infrastructure, which was once hailed as cutting edge, is crumbling beneath its feet, and the fallout is threatening to unravel the entire housing market. As the sewer failures escalate, Vancouver's property values are plummeting. Entire neighborhoods have been hit, with sewage flooding streets, basements, and even high-rise buildings. What started as a single broken pipe has spread throughout the city, leaving thousands of homes at risk. Developers are abandoning projects, banks are pulling out of deals, and homeowners are left with properties they can't sell, and in some cases, cannot even live in. The housing crisis that was already a ticking time bomb is now in full swing, and the sewer failure is just the catalyst that is accelerating the collapse. Experts are warning that the situation is far worse than anyone predicted. The city's sewer system, which was supposed to last for decades, is disintegrating at an alarming rate. It's not just a few old pipes breaking, it's a systemic failure. Estimates suggest that up to 30% of Vancouver's sewer infrastructure is now at risk of complete failure. This has led to devastating consequences for the city's housing market. The cost of repairing these sewer lines is astronomical, and it's already well into the billions of dollars. With the city's budget already stretched thin due to previous housing crises, there is little hope of finding the funds to fix the problem without deep cuts to other essential services. In the aftermath of these failures, Vancouver's residents are left in a state of disbelief. The smell of raw sewage fills the air in some neighborhoods, and many people are being forced to leave their homes. The impact on families, especially those who have already invested in properties they can no longer afford to maintain, is profound. For many, this isn't just an inconvenience, it's a financial catastrophe. Homeowners are facing skyrocketing insurance premiums, while some are being told that their properties are no longer insurable. Banks are no longer offering loans to people looking to buy homes in these affected areas, further driving down property values. The psychological toll of the crisis cannot be understated. People are losing their life savings, their homes, and their livelihoods. The B.C. Premier has publicly acknowledged the gravity of the situation, but his reassurances have done little to calm the public. For months, local officials have been scrambling to fix the problem, but the damage has already been done. Trust in the system has eroded, and Vancouver residents are beginning to lose faith in their government's ability to address the city's infrastructure issues. The problem is that the sewer failure is only the tip of the iceberg. Vancouver's housing market has been on the brink of collapse for years, but it's taken this catastrophic event to expose the underlying weaknesses in the city's infrastructure. The city's sewage system was built decades ago, and its age is finally catching up with it. What's worse, many of the pipes were installed without proper oversight or maintenance, leading to serious structural flaws that are now coming to light. As the city's sewage infrastructure continues to fail, it's becoming clear that the entire urban planning system is in disarray. Vancouver's real estate developers have already pulled back, realizing that building new homes on top of a failing infrastructure is a financial risk they can't afford to take. Banks are tightening their lending practices, refusing to fund projects in these areas until the sewage crisis is resolved. Even the city's once thriving luxury real estate market is starting to feel the pressure. Property values are dropping, and the area's reputation as one of the most desirable places to live in Canada is quickly unraveling. This crisis has also revealed deep flaws in the way Vancouver has been managed in recent years. The provincial government's response has been slow and disjointed, while B.C. Premier David Eby has expressed concern over the issue. His government has been unable to put forth a clear and cohesive plan to address the crisis. The political contradictions between city and provincial leaders have created a perfect storm, with finger-pointing and blame-shifting only adding to the chaos. The failure to act decisively on the sewer issue has now left Vancouver in a situation where it could take years to fully recover, assuming the right actions are taken at all. The city's political landscape is fractured, and residents are losing patience with leaders who seem more interested in shifting blame than solving the problem. As the damage continues to spread, Vancouver's housing market is facing an unprecedented collapse. The city's housing affordability crisis has already pushed thousands of people out of the market, but now the threat of infrastructure failure is adding a new layer of fear. Property values are expected to continue their downward spiral, and there are growing concerns about the long-term viability of Vancouver as a desirable place to live. The economic impact of the sewer crisis is being felt by all sectors, with businesses closing, investments drying up, and the city's economy grinding to a halt. The future of Vancouver now hangs in the balance. If the sewer failures are not addressed soon, the city could be facing even worse consequences. The risk of further infrastructure breakdowns, combined with an already fragile housing market, could lead to widespread panic and even greater financial losses. For many, this crisis is just the beginning. The bigger threat is yet to come, and it could spell disaster for Vancouver's future. In the coming weeks, more is expected to be revealed about the full extent of the damage, and the public is bracing for the worst. Will the B.C. Premier finally take decisive action to address the crisis, or will Vancouver continue to spiral into chaos? As the crisis deepens, Vancouver's residents are watching in horror as their city's reputation collapses around them. This may be the tipping point that finally shatters the once unstoppable Vancouver housing market. What will happen next? How far will the damage spread? Will Vancouver be able to recover from the disastrous sewer failures? Stay tuned, because the next few months will determine the fate of one of Canada's most iconic cities. As Vancouver continues to grapple with this unprecedented infrastructure failure, the crisis is only deepening. What was initially thought to be a manageable issue has now evolved into a full-scale disaster. The consequences of the sewer system breakdown are rippling through every corner of the city, from the real estate market to the lives of everyday residents. The impact is severe, and the future of Vancouver looks increasingly uncertain. The public's trust in the government has eroded significantly. B.C. Premier David Eby's attempts to calm the public with promises of swift action have fallen flat. As the city sinks further into chaos, people are beginning to wonder whether the provincial and municipal governments are equipped to handle the magnitude of this crisis. Vancouver's residents are facing the reality that their government may have been too slow, too ineffective in addressing the underlying issues. Their patience is wearing thin, and frustrations are mounting. As the public calls for action, the real estate market is spiraling out of control. Developers are no longer willing to take risks in the city, and the banks that once eagerly financed construction projects are now pulling out. Homeowners who were once confident in their property investments are now left in a nightmare scenario, unable to sell or move out due to the growing threat of sewage backups and flooding. The damage is irreversible for many of these families, and the emotional toll is immeasurable. Financial stress, uncertainty about the future, and the constant threat of further infrastructure failures have left people on edge. To make matters worse, the city's long-standing housing affordability crisis has only been exacerbated by this latest disaster. Vancouver was already one of the most expensive cities to live in, but the sewer failures have made the situation far worse. Property values, which had been steadily rising for years, are now plummeting at an alarming rate. Homeowners who thought their properties were a safe bet are now seeing their investments lose value faster than they could have ever imagined. Investors who had poured millions into Vancouver real estate are seeing their portfolios implode, while potential buyers are too scared to even consider purchasing a home in the city. The market is collapsing from all sides, and the residents of Vancouver are being caught in the middle. It's not just the homeowners who are suffering. The ripple effects are being felt across all sectors of the economy. Vancouver's once booming construction industry is now in freefall, as projects are abandoned and building costs skyrocket. The cost of rebuilding the city's sewer system is astronomical, and with the city already facing a mountain of debt from previous infrastructure projects, it's unclear where the money will come from. In addition, local businesses are closing down as the city's economic activity slows to a crawl. Restaurants, retail stores, and service providers are all feeling the pinch as fewer people venture out to the city's already deteriorating neighborhoods. The situation is further compounded by the failure of Vancouver's government to coordinate a cohesive response. The city and provincial leaders seem to be at odds over how to handle the situation. The lack of leadership and decisive action is adding fuel to the fire. The B.C. Premier, while publicly acknowledging the crisis, has yet to present a clear plan to resolve the problem. Instead, he has promised studies and reviews to better understand the scope of the damage, but those in power have failed to implement any immediate measures to alleviate the crisis. Meanwhile, the city continues to sink deeper into chaos, with no end in sight. The human cost of this disaster is staggering. Countless families are losing their homes, and many are facing the threat of financial ruin. There are stories of people who have spent their entire lives saving for a home, only to see their dreams shattered by the sewage crisis. People who had hoped to retire in comfort are now forced to sell their homes at a loss or abandon them altogether. The psychological toll of this crisis is enormous. The stress, anxiety, and fear that people are living with every day is taking a huge toll on their health and well-being. For many, it feels like the rug has been pulled out from under them, and they are left with nothing but uncertainty. As the situation grows more dire, it's becoming increasingly clear that Vancouver's future is in jeopardy. The sewer crisis is just one part of a much larger problem. The city's infrastructure is aging, and many of the systems that people rely on every day are beginning to fail. The once proud city of Vancouver, known for its stunning skyline and vibrant real estate market, is now facing the prospect of a long and painful recovery. The road ahead will be difficult, and there are no guarantees that Vancouver will be able to bounce back. What is happening in Vancouver right now is a wake-up call for other cities across Canada. If Vancouver, one of the country's most prosperous cities, can fall into such disarray, what does that say about the future of other urban centers? Cities all over Canada are facing similar infrastructure challenges, and many are ill-prepared to handle the pressure. The crisis in Vancouver may be the first of many, and it is a stark reminder of the fragile state of our urban infrastructure. For Vancouver, the next few months will be critical. The city's leaders must act quickly to address the crisis, or the damage could become irreversible. There needs to be a coordinated effort to repair the sewer system, rebuild the city's infrastructure, and restore confidence in the housing market. But given the scale of the damage, it's unclear whether the city has the resources or political will to make that happen. Residents are looking for answers, but those answers are slow to come. So, what's next for Vancouver? Can the city recover from this disaster, or is it doomed to become a cautionary tale of what happens when infrastructure is neglected? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: the stakes have never been higher. Vancouver's housing market is on the verge of collapse, and the consequences for its residents are dire. This is a crisis that cannot be ignored, and the city must act now to prevent further devastation. If you think Vancouver's future is in jeopardy, leave a comment with the number 1 below. Make sure to follow our channel for more updates on this unfolding crisis and stay informed about what happens next. Don't miss out on the latest news. This is just the beginning, and you won't want to be left behind.